going on, everybody? Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we're going to talk about some winners and some losers from Minnesota Vikings OTAs. A couple of guys have been really leaving their mark during these practices, and maybe a couple of these guys could be losing their spots in the depth chart. We'll break it all down on today's show, and also Harrison Phillips and Justin Jefferson had some awesome quotes about J.J. McCarthy, so stay tuned for that. But the season is just around the corner. And I feel like a little kid trying to fall asleep on Christmas Eve night every single night this offseason. So if you guys are fired up for the year, go down there, hit that thumbs up icon. This is honestly the most excited I've been for a season since probably the 2018 season when the Vikings made the NFC title game the year prior and brought in Kirk Cousins that offseason. But even that, I'm probably more excited for this season. So if you guys are as well, help us get this video out to more and more Vikings fans and hit that thumbs up icon. So the biggest winner from OTAs, I think by a wide margin, would have to be speedy Jalen Nailor, who also is now rocking number 1 instead of number 83. But you maybe saying, well, why is Jalen Nailor the biggest winner here? He's looking yoked. He looks like he put on around 15 to 20 pounds of just pure muscle. And even these videos we are seeing of him running routes, he hasn't sacrificed any of the speed or elusiveness in his game. He looks unreal. Looks like he put on some good weight, and plus him rocking number 1. I always say wide receivers wearing single digits just make them look a lot faster out there on the football field. But in all seriousness, shout out to Jalen Naylor. Clearly got in the gym this offseason. That was a point of emphasis in his training to put on weight, and a lot of Vikings fans have been comparing him now to Deebo Samuel. Shout out to Purple Persuasion for tweeting this out. Just both RAS scores from Deebo and Jalen Naylor. And, the biggest difference if you're comparing these two would have been the weight, as Deebo coming out weighed 214, Naylor on the other side weighed only 186 pounds. But if Naylor did put on 15 pounds of muscle, these guys are damn near the same wide receiver. And, I will say for Naylor, I was giving a lot of love to guys like Felton and Rondale more and saying they will probably compete for that wide receiver 3 spot with Naylor. But with him looking like the way he's been looking at OTAs, I think you might have this wide receiver 3 position locked up at least for the first couple of weeks of the season. And, there is still that big question mark around Jordan Addison. We should get an update on him within the next couple of weeks in terms of how many games he will be suspended at the beginning of the season. But I like the depth of this group. Obviously, you love the top-end talent. But it's funny, could you imagine Jalen Nailor being used in like a Deebo Samuel role? I think that could be incredibly interesting and just add another wrinkle to this offense because – the offense has been very, very good over the last couple of years. Has it been great? Not necessarily. I think they have always left a little to be desired from this group, but maybe that's that new wrinkle where it's like you have a guy like Naylor who is could be a great yards after catch guy in that Deebo role. Hopefully Kevin O'Connell can unlock that part of the offense, but I'm definitely intrigued by Jalen Naylor heading in the next season. And, OTA's winner number 2, got to go with QB1 here. The man from Chicago, J.J. McCarthy. Harrison Phillips and Justin Jefferson were giving him a lot of praise after practice early on today. And shout out to Wilbur Getz for tweeting this out, who's at the media session for the Vikes, saying Harrison Phillips compares J.J. McCarthy's growth and energy to when he was around young Josh Allen in Buffalo and saw him coming to his own as a quarterback. So clearly some high praise. You're comparing J.J. McCarthy to one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But in terms of personality, I see that comparison. I feel like JJ is very similar to guys like Allen, Joe Burrow at that quarterback spot. But also Jefferson talked about JJ's arm, and he said he definitely has an arm. That's for sure. He can definitely zip it when he has to. And, even if you go throw on the tape from the first preseason game that he played, or the only preseason game he played in last season, he had a lot of these zip throws where, I think it was a 3rd and 9 play to be specific. I'm pretty sure it was Naylor cutting across the middle, but JJ stepped up in the pocket, put that ball on an absolute line. And also, JJ looks like he's filled out his frame a little bit. I know everybody was concerned when they showed him on the sideline during that Lions game. He looked like he was about $190, and he actually admitted he was about $185 during that game, but he's back up over 210 plus pounds, which I love. I would always rather have my quarterbacks that have a little bit of a belly just to take the hits. Like we see Patrick Mahomes has kind of made that dad bod famous at the quarterback position. I mean, he shows up to training camp every single offseason with that beer gut, it looks like. but he's also talked about it. I want to be able to take hits. I want to be able to stay healthy. So having that extra weight on him, I think it's just great news. So shout out to J.J. McCarthy. He's looking good so far, and I just can't wait for that first preseason game. Maybe we'll get a the J.J. touchdown in the preseason, even though I would anticipate Jefferson does not play. But still, very excited to watch number 9 sling that rock over, hopefully the next 15 years for the Minnesota Vikings. But winner number 3 for me, I'm going to go Mekhi Blackman, cornerback, coming off that torn ACL. A lot of question marks. Could he be healthy for OTAs? Where is he going to be at? Well, we're hearing that he is 100% healthy during OTAs. There's a couple videos of him running some drills. He looks very fluid. And, this is a guy that Brian Flores and this defense is definitely banking on to take that next step because, outside of Byron Murphy, there's a lot of question marks at this cornerback position. Now, actually, funny enough, just saw a tweet. Isaiah Rodgers actually picked off J.J. McCarthy today on a corner route. Did have some safety help over the top, but that's good news there. But still, if Mekhi Blackman can step up, be that cornerback 2, be that cornerback 3 for this group, I think that'll be awesome. So a lot of pressure on him this year, but it's just good to know that he is fully healthy heading into the season. Now, OTA's winner number 4, I'm going to go Justin Jefferson on this one, and we're actually going to tie this back in to an old Vikings player who has been in the latest NFL news for a while. But still, first off with Jefferson, I think him showing up with no incentive is huge. He didn't have any workout bonuses. He didn't need to be there. These are voluntary, but he talked about just wanting to get that relationship built with J.J. McCarthy. And, I don't mean to, dunk on Stephon Diggs here, but if you guys have seen the viral video, he's on a boat. He's got some girls around him, and he pulled out like a pink powder. People are debating, is this Coke, whatever this is. I'm not going to speculate on that too much, but I'm very grateful for Justin Jefferson because you think about where Diggs is at. He's coming off a torn ACL. He's been bouncing around the league the last couple of years, going from the Bills, Texans, now to the Patriots. He clearly needed to build a relationship with quarterback Drake May. He didn't show up to OTAs, and this video came out a day before the day he didn't show up. So thank God we haven't seen a video of Justin Jefferson on a boat. It seems like any time a wide receiver is on a boat, it's just bad news. And, us Vikings fans, the Love Boat back in, I think, was it the 92 season? So clearly we know boats are bad news for football players. But, I'm just appreciative of Justin Jefferson. He's all about football. He's all about winning championships. And, these receivers coming out lately have definitely had some diva in their personality, but not with number 18. So let's show him some love on today's show. Type his jersey number, type those 18s down below in the comments section. Shout out to him, man. No nonsense, no BS around him. It's just strictly football. So shout out to Jettis for just holding it down and being a leader for this Vikings group that definitely needs it. So we'll dive into some losers here in a second, but first, got to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Factor Meals. Now, get started at factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off and use code VikingsChat50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. It's code VikingsChat50 off at factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off for 50% off plus free shipping. Now, summer is here, which means more sun, more light, and more time to do all the things that make summer so special. And the number one thing you don't want to be doing all summer, spending hours cooking inside. That's where Factor comes in. Factor's chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals are ready in just 2 minutes, taking the hassle out of eating well. Factor meals arrive fresh and ready to eat, and it's perfect for any active lifestyle over summer and beyond. Here covering the Minnesota Vikings at Chat Sports, we have a lot of long days here. Sometimes I'm not getting out of the office until about 7 o'clock, and I don't feel like making a home-cooked meal when I get off. That's where Factor has came in and has completely changed my life. I love most of their meals. You guys can find something that really suits your diet. Really could not endorse Factor enough. They are fantastic. So if you guys want to take advantage of this sweet deal, get started at factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off and use code VikingsChat50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code VikingsChat50 off at factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off for 50% off plus free shipping. Factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off. All right, let's dive into some losers here. And I will say there are no real losers from OTAs. It's just, you see another guy stepping up. That means there's kind of got to be a reactionary effect where, that guy's a loser. But in this situation, for our first guy on the list, we're going to go Josh Matelis. He is looking to get paid by the Vikings this offseason. And, He wasn't there for, I believe, the first 2 days of OTAs, but then he actually showed up for day 3. But he was not at Minnesota Vikings OTAs. He's looking to get paid, and I don't blame him. And honestly, the Vikings need to pay him. Like, you let Cam Bynum walk during free agency, and if you don't have Josh Matelis, this safety group's looking real thin. Like, Harrison Smith probably playing this last year. Theo Jackson, as big as I am a fan of him, still a question mark. So make Josh Matelis happy, even if you got to overpay him maybe $2 or $3 million per year than you would like. You still got to lock him up. He's key for this defense. Plays so many different positions. I mean, you guys know the MO with Matelis and his relationship with Flores. So hopefully they get this done soon, and just keep one of your premium players on defense very, very happy heading into, training camp and the preseason. But number 2 here, and don't freak out by me putting Will Fries as a loser on this list. He's just still battling back from injury. Like, I don't mean this to, concern people whatsoever. He's just not going to be there for the OTAs period, but they are hoping he will be there fully ready to go for training camp. And Kevin O'Connell actually talked about Will Fries, saying there's still a chance we can see him in some bits and pieces over the next 2 weeks, but he is in a really good spot, which is good news because the Vikings gave him that 5-year, $88 million deal this offseason. Actually, the only player to sign a 5-year deal during free agency. But, Will Fries, the biggest concern you could have for him, and, honestly, for all of the Vikings free agent signings, like Hargrave, Allen, Kelly, and Fries, it's health. Like, if these guys can stay healthy, we're probably going to look at that free agency class as one of the best in Vikings history. It could even be better than the 2023 free agency class, but still, I have really no concerns just yet on Fries besides the health, but I think he'll get it figured out, hopefully pretty quickly, and then, stay healthy for the entire season. But the last loser we're going to talk about here, Rondale Moore, and this is nothing specifically on what he did. What he has done. This is mainly just me showing love to Jaylen Naylor, and I just think he's going to have a tough chance to get on the field because I think you have, obviously your big 2, they're not going anywhere, but then Jaylen Naylor, he's going to get the nod at the wide receiver 3 spot. Then that wide receiver 4, I'm assuming they're going to go with Ty Felton, considering they spent, from the Vikings' perspective, one of their premium picks, their second highest pick last year in the draft. But I just think it may be tough for Rondale Moore to see the field consistently this season. I'm sure we'll see him in spots, and maybe he could have a big preseason. This could all change, but, he is a guy. He's got big playability. And if he is your wide receiver 5, it's a pretty good problem to have. Like, I think Rondale Moore would be one of the better wide receiver 5s in the National Football League, but this is going to be the battle for wide receiver 3. Now, I know Naylor's getting all the love right now just because he has shown up looking yoked for OTAs, but I'll ask you guys, pick a wide receiver 3 for the Vikings next season. Give me a 1, not an 83 for Jalen Nailor. Give me a 4 for Rondale Moore, and give me a 13 for the rookie Ty Felton. We appreciate all of you guys for watching today's show. See y'all next time. Let's go Vikes.